Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry, I know I'm slow. I got a lot going on. School just started. Yada yada. Excuses. But let's just go ahead and get into it. So where we left off was we just finished the Twitch.js bot portion, and that's all fine and dandy. However, we need to go ahead and actually make the Vue site. So this is going to be the Vue website itself. And the way we're going to go ahead and achieve this is we need to go ahead and instantiate a webpack in it. And so what we're going to do here is we're just going to open up a command prompt, go to where it is. I think mine's users. Document. Here. What? Where did I put it? There we go. No, that's not right. Documents, cd, programming, cd, cd viewbot. There we go. Alright. Oh, that's not a thing of this. Makes me sad. Alright. Well, the thing we need to go ahead and do is, it's really easy. We're just going to go and initiate something that's already kind of like a base plate, a boilerplate, as it's called, something that you could build upon of that gives you some bare bones functionality, so to speak. And it's going to be view init webpack. We're going to just name it viewbot. View is not recognized. That is okay. So if that happens, we gotta then install the Vue CLI. So go ahead and do that real quick, and you can just do that with npm I vue-cli. Fairly easy to fix. Makes you think, how did I do it before? Good question. That's because I didn't. It's on a different computer. Well, same physical computer, just erased everything. But now that's done, now we do view init webpack viewbot. View is not. Why? Alright, if that happens, let's try npm install -g vue-cli and see if we can go ahead and get that going. There we go. That's what I wanted. Project name, viewbot. Sorry, no longer contain capital letters. Okay, so just rename it viewbot, no capitals. Project description, don't care. Just keep clicking enter. Yeah, just keep using, clicking enter. And as you can see here, it'll go ahead and create all this stuff here. And just waiting for it to go ahead and finish all its processes here. But let me give you a brief explanation of what our goal is going to be here. First, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and build the back layer. And what this is going to do is this is going to interact with the bot. This is going to be connected to the socket and and having the ability to receive information from it, and be able to store that. Where we're also going to be building this on is we're going to be building it so that if you refresh the page, the information stays persistent there. That's not necessary because what's it face? The socket sends the list every time someone connects, but the reason we're doing this is so in case maybe the socket doesn't connect the first time or something, the bot crashes, you don't want it to just be erased, so to speak. Like when you refresh the page, you want to still have the information there. Just kind of a redundancy, I guess you could say. And yep, it's still going on. So just gonna keep waiting for that. There's also gonna be a couple, I guess various Vue things we're going to install, and we can install them through npm. One of which is, yes, going to be the what's it face? Sorry, I just got back from school. I'm a bit dazed. All right, is the socket, the Vue socket, and I'll show you how to do all this here. And all right, so this is what you should see when it's done. To run it, just go to viewbot and type in npm run dev. Allow access. And once the whole thing loads up, you'll see something like this. Your application is running here, where it'll be running. So just go ahead and put this into a URL bar and localhost colon 8080. Okay, I just put in the wrong port. It's the wrong thing once again. Localhost colon 8080. Man, not my day. Alright, anyways. As you can see here, this is a, well, sorry, a bare bones view plate. Or boilerplate, I mean, and this will allow us to build upon it, and we can demonstrate, some basic stuff and how it'll work by just changing this. And one of the great things I think about Vue is the ability to update it in the console. Here will notice that you updated, and it'll automatically refresh the page and get it up and running. Which is really nice. Makes the thing swift. So here we are. This is the code right here. This is all the code. You don't typically need to worry about in here. In node modules, depending on your preferences, you might want to change some configurations of some of the modules in here. But do that at your own risk. Some of the things I've changed is ESLint, because some of the standards I think are just wrong. Static. This is where we're gonna keep image files and stuff. Usually, just things to keep stationary. I'll show you what I mean once we get there. Inside we have test. Don't need to worry about it. And there's a bunch of config files. We have index.html and some more JSON files and a README. So what's inside this index.html is the main page. So, for instance, say when I want to change the title, it's random string of characters. As you can see here, if we refresh, it'll change that. And note how just because we change something, it doesn't automatically need to go ahead and change everything. In fact, here, I have it off screen, but I'll go ahead and change the title again. And you'll notice what I mean by it'll automatically detect it. So if I change to hello root and save it, you'll see it automatically compiles, does everything again, and if we refresh the page, it changes, which is very nice. Always enjoy that. But the reason we have this index.html is because we need something to anchor the view page on. If you want to just add any basic stuff, go ahead. But really, this is the bare bones you need here. And you need this div id equals app, and I'll show you why in a second. Because in our source file, this div is what the whole application basically builds itself out of, because that's what it, I guess you could say, connects to. And so if we look here, we have assets. This is where we can also put some images. This is where I'll put most of my images because it's just what I'm used to doing. But you can get started to work. Components, I'll go over this in a second. Router, I'll also go over this in a second. And we have our two things here. We have main.js, and what this is going to do is this is going to be the what builds the application, sort of. This is where we're going to go ahead and choose the place where we want to go ahead and take the application and build into it. So as you can see here, we have L, which stands for element, and hashtag app. One thing I should quickly state before we get too far into this is that I am expecting you to have at least the basics of CSS, JS, and HTML. Those are necessary for this because I don't have the time to go in and teach you all of these new things. And there are plenty of other tutorials that you can go look at. And if you guys want me to make one, I can try and make one, or maybe go into another video teaching you the HTML, so we'll just speak of this. But yeah, so back into it. So the first things we need to do is we need to actually import Vue itself, so we can create a new Vue object. Then we're going to need the app, which is this app.vue right here, and I'll show you why we need that in a second. And then we're also going to import router. The reason we have to import all these is so we can, well, oh, my bad, is so we can use them in our code. And as you can see here, we're just creating a new Vue instance. We're choosing the element we want to append to, which is in this index file here, right here. Then we're going to take things that we imported and we're going to put in router here. And as you can see, it doesn't, specify anything. That's because when we're passing what we're importing here, it's going to pass into the whole Vue instance so we can use it later. So other couple things we're going to be using is we're going to be using view.socket, vuex, and persisted state. And I'll show you how all these work here in a minute. Then we're going to need a component, and what a component is well, this. It's basically like a mini. It's a file that has HTML, CSS, and JS all in one, and it takes that component and it allows you to put them into pieces and use them. And template here, don't really need to worry too much about this. Just go ahead and leave this be. So let's go ahead and look into how a .vue file looks. This is called a component, like I was saying. So the first thing you'll notice here is it kind of looks like JS, HTML, all wrapped in one, and that's kind of what it is. We have special tags, 3 special tags: template, script, and style. The thing to note is each component, the only one that's not required is style. Otherwise, you're always going to need a script and the template. And what the template does is, well, HTML is a templating language, basically. It's not a full-fledged language on its own in reality. So it's just for structuring, and this is what this is doing. This is saying everything in here is HTML that we want to put into it. And yeah, and it's what we want insert into our application. Now this script is the JavaScript that we want to go along with this, and I'll show you once we get into components how we can better utilize this. Another thing is we have the style here, which is just the style for this stuff, which is pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so we briefly talked components, and we have the components in here. So if we go to the web page again, you remember the view and then all links. This is what is showing. This is the component that all those things are showing. So we have the style, we have the script, and we have the template. And obviously the template is, what we see. The structuring CS is the what's its name? The cut, the styling for it right there. And as you can see, add scoped attribute to limit CSS to this component only. Maybe I said earlier, I think I fumbled my words earlier. I said that they all come, that for the components they all go to that specific component only. That's incorrect. It injects it into that page. So you add scoped if you only want it to go to this component. My bad. I apologize. But the thing that you might see that's a tad bit weird here is script, and it doesn't have usual JavaScript notation, and it's a bit awkward, I'll admit. But what it allows us to do is it allows us to do a couple things. One, something's in my it allows us to be reactive, basically. So when we access things with these special modifiers like this, and you can go to their documentation to find all the different ones that you can use, and we're going to be showing a couple. And how much time we're at? We're at 15 minutes already. All right, I'm going to try and limit this to 20 minutes. and they all have their different purposes. So the ones we're going to be using is called sockets, which just comes with the sockets and allow us to interact with sockets and stuff. I'll show you how to use those. Methods, which is kind of in the same way, and this allows us to have functions that we can call within the template, and I'll show you how to do this. And it makes things very interactive, very reactive, and it makes things a lot easier development-wise. We're also going to be using data, which is where we store information. And like this, return message. So this is stored on there, and the message, if we see here, if we message, this is what the message will be grabbed. If you've ever used something like Angular, it's very simple with that, and you use the double curly brace opening and double curly brace closing to act as a bind. And this is a one-way bind. If you don't know what data binding is, basically what it is we have the information stored, right? Instead of just putting the message in, like you would in regular web development, we can store the web development, and whenever that storage of that changes, it automatically updates how we see it. And the best way I can show you how to do that is if we create a text box real quick. And you can do this with, I think, all elements. But we're going to create a quick text area. And we're going to do special syntax v-bind, and we're going to do, oh man, we're going to do, v-bind, and we want to bind it with message, yes. And so basically what this means is that whenever we change something in here, I think, if that doesn't change it, what if we just do, here, you know what I do? I'm going to do this real quick. Why is it not working? What am I doing wrong here? Sorry, give me a hot second. This is what it is. It's not v-bind, my bad. V-bind is what we're going to be using for other things. It's v-model. Again, you need to go and look in the documentation for all of them, which I'll show you real quick. Actually, boom, we can come into it right here. Core docs. It'll be easier for me to explain everything here. Not what I want. I guess get started. Yes. Alright. So like I was saying, so what they call it is this is declarative rendering. Let me just go ahead and do this, make sure everything works. And we can, what is it? Whatever. And basically what it is when we're doing this, we're declaring that we want this to be connected with this. Like I said, the information. Don't worry about the syntax here, because the syntax, what we're going to be doing is the correct one. I don't know why it's showing that, because that has never worked for me. But, that's okay. So like I said, whenever we change that, it'll update that. And to prove this, hover your mouse for a few seconds to dynamically bound title. This is what I mean. So right now, see it? The time, 5:31:42. It's ticking right now. 5:31:42. Alright, well, that's broken. Huh. 5:32:31. 5:32. That's broken. That's weird. That's unfortunate. Maybe I have something that's blocking it. What if I try undoing ads? Okay. I honestly have no idea. Okay. This, I guess, will be better. I don't know why these things are breaking for me today. Okay, There we go. Here's something where you can see. Try it. You can, it has the properties that you can access. So this is called app3. This is being instantiated right here is app3, and it's span v-if scene. And basically, this is a thing that you can use to toggle it off from your code. And you can do a ton of other things. I wonder where handling user input. This is what one thing I was talking about. If you see here, what it is we're defining an input, v-onClick, and this is what the method I was talking about, reverse message. And you can access the message from the methods and everything. So every time I click it, I'll reverse it. This is what I was talking about. We use the v-model to make two-way data binding. The issue I was doing with v-bind was that doesn't do two-way data binding. The v-model though does do two-way binding, which is what we want, and that's basically saying that they can interact with each other. Doing different types of data binding is not too important for what we're going to be doing, so don't worry about it unless you want to go further into it. But like we say, as soon as we update, so since this is binded here with this, and as soon as we update this, it's updating this, which will in turn update this, is how we can see it. So as we can see it working right there, which is what it should. And this is all throughout. This does do a bit tricky, trying to do things, but it does have a generally good stuff. It does generally do a good job explaining what they're trying to do. But you just need to experiment with yourself and you get the handle of it. One tutorial isn't gonna magically teach you all, especially mine. But I hope you get the grasp of what I'm trying to say. We're already going a bit long. And so, yes. So this is the basics of Vue. Go ahead and tamper with it in the next video that I will get out to you tomorrow, August 31st. If it's not September 1st, I don't know. I will go ahead and get that out tomorrow to you, and that will be where we actually build the not web, but the interface for it, the actual list where we'll gather the information and show it, and we'll display it dynamically and get it interacting with the sockets. Thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. I know this one was a bit more impromptu than the others, and all the others were pretty impromptu. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys later.